Hello, welcome to MTG Explained. Today we're going to go over some Planeswalkers from M21. Starting off, we're going to go over with Teferi, Master of Time. This is my personal favorite from the set, just because he has the unique ability to be able to activate his loyalty abilities on his opponent's turn, right? You can do this on your turn, and as soon as your opponent's turn comes up, you can activate it again. This is going to be crazy. It's going to be interesting to see how this actually plays out in actual gameplay. But you can basically plus him up him to 4, which is +1 is draw a card and discard a card, which is a search ability, kind of helps you get what you need. And then as soon as your opponent turns around, you can minus him to 3, which can phase out a creature opponent's controls, right? And if you phase out the creature, it basically removes it from play. It's not exile, it just doesn't exist essentially, which helps protect Teferi and yourself as soon as your opponent's turn comes up, right? So you can plus him, minus him on his opponent's turn, or you can just plus him again, which gets you closer to that ultimate, right? Which is a 10 minus loyalty count. But again, since you're being able to do it on your turn and your opponent's turn, you might be able to get there a little bit quicker. His ultimate basically gives you 2 extra turns. This can play up pretty well in certain decks. Having 2 turns can essentially win you the game. So very dangerous ultimate. A minus ability, -3 ability that protects himself, protects you, and then a plus ability that kind of helps you filter through cards. All around, very solid Planeswalker. At just 4 mana costs, not a bad bet, not bad at all. I'm very interested to see how he plays, especially with the fact that he can do instant activation of his loyalty abilities. And again, keep in mind, guys, in Commander, that means if you're playing like a 4-player pod, you can activate on each of your opponent's turns. So that could get out of hand pretty crazy, pretty fast. So it's going to be very interesting seeing this guy being played in Standard, in Commander, or any other type of format, because we haven't seen a Planeswalker that can do this yet. Alright, second up, we're going to talk about Basri Ket. Basri Ket, he's a white Planeswalker. He's a 3 convert mana cost. He ends the battlefield with 3 loyalty counters. His +1 is essentially put 1+ counter on target creature and make it indestructible until end of turn. So he kind of got that Gideon the Black Blade feel to it, except he actually puts a counter on it. So I think his +1 is a little bit better than Gideon Black Blade. In fact, that a counter lasts for as long as that creature is alive, opposed to just being able to have the ability to give it vigilance versus lifelink, right? That Gideon Blackblade can do. So I think his +1's a little bit better, a little bit better, except that he can't give lifelink. That's basically the downside on his +1. But I do like the fact that it throws a counter on there. His -2 though is probably the main reason why you'll play him, and his -2 basically allows you to create a number of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens to the equal to the number of creatures you attack with that aren't non-token creatures that attack with. So this is good if you're playing a lot of 1-drops, white weenie deck. Drop a bunch of creatures, drop them down turn 3, -2 him, swing in, create a bunch of tokens. That's what's gonna help you. And they're tapped and attacking, so they can't really defend the Planeswalker, after the fact, but they do help with that more type of aggro deck, so it helps them come at them quickly, right? So, definitely interesting Planeswalker. He's probably not the best one in this set, but I think you'll see some standard play, for sure. His -6 though is at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 white creature soldier token, then put a 1+ counter on each creature you control. So again, his whole mechanic, his whole base is based off of you playing a deck that has a lot of creatures, some sort of aggro type deck, playing these counters on. His ultimate isn't necessarily game ending, but it can help you. And it's only at -6, but he only goes up 1+ each turn, and you're probably gonna minus him too when you play him on turn 3, depending on how many creatures you got down already. So I like him, but he's probably not the best Planeswalker in this set. All right, third we have Liliana, Walker of the Dead. Now I'm actually kind of excited for this Planeswalker. I know some people aren't too excited about this Planeswalker, but I actually really like Liliana. She's at 4 convert mana cost. with 4 loyalty counters, and their +1 makes each player discard a card, and if they can't, if your opponent can't discard a card, they lose 3 life also. So I like that extra ability where they lose 3 life, right? That, you know, Liliana the Veil didn't have, right? Of course, this is costing more money. This card's probably not as good as Liliana the Veil, obviously, but I think it is going to be playable, definitely in standard. And that ability, that effect where you plus it and they lose 3 life, that helps in the late game. If you top deck it, you know, you throw it down, your plus ability is still being useful, still dealing damage, 3 damage each turn if they don't have any cards in hand. If they do, you're making them toss those cards in the graveyard. So its -3 is a spot removal type effect. You can target creature and it gets X- to the number of cards in your graveyard, right? So this it's pretty good because Liliana, it can disrupt the opponent's hand and do damage to them, and it also can remove creatures, right? Because, you know, more than likely you're gonna be tossing cards in the graveyard, and decks that are behind this will probably be playing a lot of cards that be going to the graveyard. So that minus ability probably gonna kill a lot of types of creatures that come into play that you might be threatened. So it can come on the field as soon as it enters. It can remove something, or it can start disrupting their hand. And its alt is a -7. Basically, you get an emblem at the beginning of combat on your turn. You may, you know, cast a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield. It gains haste, which is actually really good, right? And it becomes under your control, obviously. So this card could be a game ender. I think it's going to be played. I like it actually a lot. So people are kind of undervaluing it, I feel, but I do like Liliana, Walker of Dead. I'm excited to play it in standard. I think it's going to do pretty well. All right, so next up, we have Chandra, Heart of Fire. Now, at first when I saw this card, it's a 5-drop mana, Planeswalker, and it's bound for 5 loyalty counters. I wasn't a big fan of this. I'll be honest. I was not a big fan of Chandra, the Heart of Fire, but she has grown on me. I think she might actually be viable. I think she might be a good player in this upcoming standard format. All for abilities except for ultimate obviously plus it. So right, so it has a 2+1 ability. 1+1 does discard your hand, then exile the top 3 cards of your library until end of turn. You may play those cards exile this way. That can be critical every turn. Exile top 3 cards. It's essentially drawing 3 cards every turn, right? And you're throwing, you know, by the time you play Chandra, you might not even have a hand, so the whole part where you discard your hand might not even be a down effect at that point, right? So essentially, exile top 3 cards, you may cast them. It seems like a really good late game play. Its +1 is a shock effect, right? 2 damage to any target. Not the, you know, the best removal or spot removal Planeswalker ability we've seen, but it can you know, knock out some pesky creatures, or even deal damage to, you know, player or other Planeswalkers. You know, 2 damage is nothing, you know, to be ashamed of. It's not the best, but it's definitely a nice utility that Chandra has, and it's also a +1. So both the loyalty ability plus it help it get to that 9, right? And 9 is its ultimate. Search your graveyard and library for any number of red instant or sorcery cards, exile them, then shuffle your library. You may cast them this turn, add 6 mountains. That could be game ending depending on how your deck is built. And every turn, it's just plussing itself up to get there. It is 9, so it's hard to get there. It's a little bit high, but not impossible probably. But again, you know, these cards are best off of their regular ability, Planeswalkers. So I think it has a strong ability where it can plus it, exile top 3 cards of your library, and you may cast those cards. That's going to be essential in certain decks. I think this card's going to see some play. At first, I did not like it. Actually, it was probably my least favorite Planeswalker in the set. But definitely coming around for me. And finally, we have Derrick Be Unleashed. This guy, at first I was excited about him. He's probably he's probably gonna be pretty decent. I don't know how much play he's gonna get, but I do like him because of the fact you -2 create a 3/3 beast token. As soon as he comes in play, that creates a token creature that can protect him, right? It's important when a planeswalker can protect himself. And the fact that he can create a 3/3 beast token that can protect him for 4 mana, and you have a planeswalker on the field, actually seems pretty good. So I know he's not getting the biggest love in this community, I feel, but I was really excited when I first saw him, became a little less excited about him. Now I'm kind of getting back up there being excited about this guy. Because play him, and then next turn you can plus it, make it a 6/6, gain trample, right? And you'll be swinging with 6/6, right? If you plus it onto that beast token. Or you can just plus on something else, right? And keep in mind, this guy, he can see play in creature type decks, right? Where you're playing a bunch of creatures, like those mono green decks, things like that. But I can also see him being played in some sort of, bank control, some sort of mid-range deck or control deck or something, right? Because you can play a planeswalker, he can start spinning out beast tokens, right? And if you have lower creatures, he gets an additional 1+ counter, right, on himself. So that only costs a -1 of that, essentially. And then you might have like a 1 big creature finisher that he can search for with his ultimate that you can put on the field, or just a bunch of creatures, right? This guy is very versatile planeswalker. I think he's going to see play. He's only 4 convert mana cost, which is in green colors is not that much mana. So I do look forward to seeing Derrick Be Unleashed, and I think he's going to do well. Now, that's all I got. Thank you for joining us, though. We went over those 5 planeswalkers. I mean, obviously, there's Ugin. He's going to be a killer in this format. I mean, he's just a great card altogether. But I'm not going to go over him too much since he's a reprint. And we already know exactly what that card is capable of. But thank you for watching. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. And comment below what's your favorite planeswalker out of this set. Which one are you most looking forward to playing? Thanks again for watching.